Hi, welcome back to Always Something. I have missed you. I am here filming at my infusion. This infusion center is different than the last infusion center that I took you guys along with me to. So if you haven't seen that video, I will link it and be sure and check that one out. This is going to be my last time in this infusion center. So I wanted to show you a few differences at this infusion center than the last one that I took you to. And after this infusion, I will have to find a whole new infusion center in a new area. So that'll be quite the adventure. But in the meantime, let me show you around. So this is my cubicle. I call it a cubicle. Kind of looks like a cubicle. So there's nobody across from me. There's no curtain to really close it off. But they do try and distance us from the next person, which is really nice. I have my own television. Here's the remote to the TV. The sound comes out the top. There's a nice little table here for all my goodies. Of course, you know, I pack my bag. Here's my medicine. Of course, I have a coat on because although it's really warm outside, it's always cold inside. You guys know I like to bring my heated blanket. Now, this place gives you warmed towels. Warmed blankets, I'm sorry. Last time I came to this center, they brought me as many towels, blankets. Sorry, I don't know why I'm calling them towels. I guess they feel like towels because they're so thin, even though they're warmed. They don't stay warmed that long. I had to take 3 of these blankets to in order to have it thick enough for me to stay warm. So I still prefer the heated blanket. Now, this time I also have heated socks on. Now, I've got long enough pants where you can't even tell, but these are keeping my feet nice and toasty. Now, one thing you'll notice, I gotta put my seat up, is the plug situation. You've got 2 plugs back here. Now, one of the plugs, if you follow it back, it goes to this machine right here. The other plug was free, so I brought my own extension cord, which is really, really nice. I didn't know until the first infusion that there was only 1 plug, but I need extra plugs. So it's nice to bring an extension cord, I realized. I have my heated blanket plugged in there. I have a phone charger. And then I have some other plugs, charging cords and stuff as well that I brought. So you can never have enough plugs sometimes at these things. So bring an extension cord. I feel like that's good. Now, another thing I didn't address in the last video is that wearing a short sleeve shirt or a tank top, something that makes it really easy for them to do blood pressure, for them to access your arm. See, I have a coat on here, but you can't take it on and off because of all this apparatus on here. So you're just kind of stuck in there. And I'm always freezing in these things. So you can do a jacket with the short sleeves, but if you have like a tight long sleeve something on, it's just not going to work very well. And then another thing I talked about at the last infusion was where I had my actual site for my, what do you call it, my port, I guess would be the name. So my port last time was terrible because the machine kept beeping. I couldn't really bend my arm. This is a much better place for the site. I have it in my hand, as you can see, and I can move my hand around and it works out much, much better. So I recommend getting the site in your hand versus where I had it in the last infusion. I really like this. There's not as much meat on your hand, fat. So initially, putting the IV into your hand is going to hurt a little bit more, but overall, I think it's a much better experience, and I would recommend getting your IV in your hand. Now, this infusion for me today was delayed because I didn't have my labs done before the infusion, which is a typical thing that they will do, is to check your lab work before you start your infusion. So it's a good idea if you don't have labs being done before your infusion, if that's something you normally do, to check with your doctor and see if you need to get those done. I know better, and I know that that's normal, and that was not ordered for me this time. So that's something that's very good about being an advocate for yourself, and something I should have done. That did not happen this time. So because that didn't happen this time, my infusion was delayed this morning. They said it could be anywhere from a half an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how slow the lab was. I'm not exactly sure how long it was delayed. I'd have to check when I got here versus what time they actually started me. But they had to draw blood work this morning, and then they had to wait for those labs to come back before I could even start my pre-meds and then get my actual infusion. Then when I get my pre-meds, same as the last infusion center, I have to wait a half an hour for those pre-meds to kick in before they can even start my infusion. So you don't have to clear your entire day for an infusion, but I suggest that you do, because if there is any hiccups in the morning to get started, then you're not going to be as stressed out if you have to spend a little bit longer waiting for your infusion, like I did this morning. And this is not the only infusion that's happened to me where there's been some sort of situation where I've gotten delayed in the morning for one reason or another. So it happens. Allow extra time. It's not that big of a deal. So that's my 2 cents as far as preparing for your infusion. Allow extra time, maybe clear your day, wear short sleeves, or just loose fitting sleeves. Make sure you're in comfy clothes. You're going to be there a long time. At this place, they do have a kitchen that's for you. You can get up, you can walk around, go to it as much as you feel like going to. They provide snacks. They've got crackers. They have orange juice and Pediasure and tea and hot water, all at your leisure. It's nice to be able to get up and stretch and walk around over there if you need anything. For some reason, I just cannot sleep before an infusion. It doesn't matter how many of these I do. I'm a terrible sleeper. And so I'm literally running on like 4 hours of sleep today. And because of that, I am just so tired. And the minute these pre-meds kicked in, I'm like, I think I need to take a nap. So I'm going to get cozy here. I'm going to recline this chair a little bit more. And I think it is nap time. So I will check in a little bit later, and I will talk to you guys then. Bye-bye. Hey, so I just wanted to mention it can be so bright in here for a nap. Now, they did ask me if I wanted them to open a curtain so I could get some more natural sunlight in, which is really great because sometimes the just regular fluorescent lighting in here, um, that can just not be as great as having the sunlight. And the sunlight is also great for the warmth, but not so good with all this brightness for napping. So I suggest getting yourself a good eye mask for taking a nap. Mine's weighted. I really love that. It's great for headaches, and it's really just fantastic for napping. But the last infusion I was here, I didn't remember my eye mask. So if you don't want to invest in the money, you might already have one of these face masks for your infusion. I love these things when it's cold outside because it keeps my nose warm. But believe it or not, they actually do work good as an eye mask to block out the light when you're trying to take a nap during your infusion. And it might look silly, but it actually did work really well when I tried to take a nap during my last infusion. And another thing that can be good if you're in a like cubicle setting like I'm at, or if sometimes you're in one of those settings I talked about in my last infusion video where you don't have a ton of privacy, you just slide a curtain in between, and then it can get kind of noisy, especially if you have machines next to you that are beeping a lot. Invest in some earplugs. Not too super expensive, and totally helps muffle the noises and makes it a lot quieter and easier to take a quick little snooze. But they're not completely noise canceling, they're just noise dampening. So it'll make it quieter, but you can still hear with them in. So you'll still hear if a nurse comes in. It's like about 70 degrees outside and sunny, and it looks like I'm dressed for winter. All I needed was my hat, but I guess I've got a good enough hood. I really want to go all out. Anyway, um, these gloves are great for infusions if your hands get cold. That and the combination of this rechargeable hand warmer. I can take, let me see if I can show you. I can take this glove, and since it's stretchy, I can just slide it on right over my IV without screwing it up. So that way I keep my hand warm and still get my medicine. And then lift it up and everything's still intact in there. So some stretchy gloves look really, really good. Make sure everything's still in there real good. And then my hand warmer for my fingers. I got all the tricks to stay warm in this place. I don't know why, but they always have to keep hospitals nice and cold. This is a message from future Erica. I definitely knew that my infusion was over when I woke up from my nap and I already started feeling nauseous. Now, when I stay awake and I don't take a nap at the end of my infusion, I generally feel nauseous, but it hits me a little bit harder. So it was nice to be sleeping and just kind of wake up to it rather than staying awake. When you're starting an infusion and it's your very first infusion, typically what they do is they will start slower with your speeds and then they will increase your speeds as you go. Now with me, I've had some reactions in the past. I talk about infusion reactions in my last infusion video. And so because of that, they give me custom speeds, which are a little bit different than the standard speeds. And so I still have slower speeds in the beginning of my infusions, and then they increase my speeds as I go. And so I always have kind of a lighter beginning, and then towards the end it hits me a little bit harder. And so the beginning of my infusion is always just a lot calmer, and then by the end I start to feel it harder. So it is pretty nice when I can take a nap and then just kind of, oh, it's done, versus at the end, if I'm awake, I will definitely notice it a lot more. So the prednisone is very helpful at the end of the day to kind of keep my body going and kind of make the effects not so strong. But when that starts to wear off, because I've been given the Tylenol for the pre-meds, then I can get a headache. And last night I also was feeling nauseous. My body was aching. Today I was feeling tired, nauseous, more body aches. But I tell you, I was sick with the flu last month, and that was way worse than any of these side effects. So this is not pleasant, but I'll take it over the flu. It's going to be gone a lot quicker than when I was sick with the flu. And I'm just very grateful that this is not going to be nearly as long of a recovery as when I had the flu. So everybody, stay well, stay healthy. Try and avoid the sicknesses going around right now, especially if you're immunocompromised like I am. There's a lot of nasty stuff going around right now. Anyway, back to the video.
Yeah, let's see. I wasn't letting this go anywhere, was I?
Did a good job.
It's on there permanently.
I just got done with my infusion. It is so gorgeous out here. It feels so good to be in the sunshine, especially after being inside where it was so cold the whole time. Sometimes after infusion, you just want to take a minute and appreciate just something as simple as getting outside. I was inside so much longer than I normally am for an infusion. I'm all bandaged up. She did great. She would have had to poke me twice, once to do the labs and then once for my actual infusion. But she was able to draw my labs just from the infusion site where I had my port. So that was fantastic. She did a great job. She made sure that my site for my infusion didn't move at all. It was bandaged up really, really well and good to go. A lot of times it moves around and sometimes they can't get blood from the same area. So that just worked out really well today. I'm very happy that everything went so good and it feels good to be done. Even if it is a little later, at least I still get some daylight hours left. I would have closed out the video inside, but I did actually end up with somebody in the cubicle right across from me. So I just didn't want to be very loud. She ended up taking a nap also. I feel a lot better now that I slept. In fact, I ended up sleeping through the rest of my infusion. So I woke up right at the end. I was a little out of it and I looked up and I was like, oh, I've still got time left. No, that was my saline bag. In fact, it beeped because my infusion was done. So my body just really needed the rest. I did bring some extra entertainment with me, didn't even end up touching it. If you have any questions about any of my infusions, feel free to put it below in the comments. If you would like to see future infusions, let me know in the comments. I did mention earlier that I do have to find a new infusion center. This will be my last infusion here. The new infusion center might be completely different, or it might be similar to this one or the last one that I went to. It'll be interesting for me to find out. I have no idea yet. So it's a surprise, as much as a surprise to me as it will be to you. Always remember when you're doing tough things like this, it's the small comforts like bringing a good snack from home, having a cozy blanket, bringing something that's going to bring you joy while you're sitting there and occupying your mind, having a nice conversation with the nurse, or saying hi to the person next to you. These are the things that are going to brighten your day. There's always little things that can make it a little bit easier and a little bit brighter. Look for those things to get you through. And always remember, you're not alone. We're in this together. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will be back with some more content coming shortly. Have a good day. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you next time. What was really a surprise to me was to see all the cards in the food and beverage area. And there was even a wall of them hanging next to the bell that you ring when it's your final time for an infusion. What a neat celebratory thing that they had there for all of us people getting infusions. I bet it warmed so many hearts, not just mine. What a great idea that was. I hope that they think about doing that at other infusion centers because that small gesture means so much to so many. Especially me. I loved looking through the different cards. Here are a few of them that I saw that really touched me.